We often look for ways to invest our money, and most of us prefer to rely on a professional. But what if we want to manage the money ourselves? Mike Ellis, Director and CIO from Pioneer Wealth Management, will give us some useful points to consider. Hello, Mike.
Hi.
So is it possible to manage your own portfolio?
Absolutely, it's possible. From most bank accounts in Israel, you can get directly a wide range of investments. What's particularly interesting in this regard is the development of index products. These index trackers, or Tudotzal, help you access subsections of the market. So you can very cheaply and very easily get very diversified portfolios, which is what people need. The only complexity is deciding which subsections to access, and what weighting to put on each of these subsections. And
what things you should pay attention to?
Well, there's a long list of factors to consider.
Okay.
But, for example, transaction costs, the costs you know about when you buy the instrument, that's the cost you pay the bank, and the cost which is a little bit hidden, which is the cost inside the instrument. And there are many other factors as well, but the most important factor which we see, which is often underestimated and not clearly understood, is investment risk.
Okay.
This sounds so obvious and so trivial, but
people don't really understand what the risk is all about.
Absolutely, they don't understand. It's common sense principles like don't put too many eggs in one basket, or don't rely on the past performance too much as an indicator of the future. These are mistakes which we see repeated over and over again.
And we talked a little bit about common sense. So what do we actually need to know before we decide to start our own profile?
The first step in an advisory process is for the advisor to know your client. When in the context of managing your own money, you have to know yourself. That sounds rather silly, but what it means is you have to set your portfolio objectives, you have to understand your risk tolerance, you have to understand what realistically can be achieved over a certain period of time, whatever your objectives are. And again, how much risk can you tolerate along the way? You know, the liquid markets don't work in straight lines. We don't get fixed returns every year. So we have to know how we're going to react on the way when we have the ups and downs.
So basically, if I know that I'm a person that don't like to take risks, maybe I should not take risks with my money as well, because it's going to be too hard for me to do?
Understanding the risk is one component. The second step is to shop around and find the right products which will help you achieve those long-term goals. The third step is to actually take the decision and jump in the water and buy what you need to buy. And the fourth step would be to monitor the portfolio. Now, monitoring is also not trivial because many times people compare themselves to the wrong benchmark. Just to put it in the simplest possible terms, people buy apples and they're comparing themselves to the oranges.
We never really look on ourselves the right way.
Exactly. So there isn't an objective way to test how the portfolio is doing.
So who does it suit for?
In order to manage your own money, I always say you need three things.
Okay.
The first thing is time. Time to shop around, time to understand, time to investigate, time to consolidate the information and build the Excel. The other thing you need is skills. You need a certain amount of understanding about investments and opportunities, and understanding, as we discussed, risk, understanding the risks. And the third thing is the emotional readiness to take decisions. Many times clients who have the time and they have the skills, but they're not ready to take the decision and live with the consequences of that decision. So they prefer to outsource it to a manager, even though they understand exactly what that manager is doing.
So we should always know who we are before we choose to make ourselves into a certain profession.
I always say if you're missing one of these three essential components, then perhaps you should use
reconsider.
You should use an advisor.
Mike Ellis, thank you so much.
Thank you.